Today's tech tip will be talking about uses for Padlet. And I got a lot of these ideas from Tech Chef for You on Twitter. She does a great job of posting things that are very helpful. The first one way you could use Twitter is to as a bell ringer activity. You could have the kids ask, what you could ask the kids what they remember from the previous day's lesson. You can ask them a specific question that you want a range of answers from. You could engage them in some kind of dialogue to start the class off. You could ask them a what if question. Predicting activity. So as you proceed through new content with students, you can stop and let them predict what will happen next. And then later you can see maybe how close they are in their predictions. Next is collaborative note taking. While listening to a presentation, students can work together to add notes to a Padlet to produce a resource they can refer to later. This also works with our staff meetings, things like that. And over here, I talked about feedback. You can get feedback from conferences or give feedback on a student's Padlet. So if you make this, you can share this with somebody. And if you choose to do that, then you can also comment on their Padlet. Next up, we have event planning. And event planning, if you're planning a class trip or a party or a field trip, all the information can go on the Padlet, including photos of the destination, a list of who's bringing what, links to pertinent websites, and more. Maybe you could even put a web quest, which we're getting down in here, based on the trip that you're taking. Web quests typically have been a static document, but this makes it more alive. You could also make it an exit ticket. What did you learn today? What didn't make sense? You could go back to the predicting and ask them what you think they'll think happens tomorrow. And the great thing about this is not only is this collaborative in nature, but it also, if they have internet access, they can work on this from wherever they want. Research gathering. This is another way where kids can work collaboratively through the virtual world and don't necessarily have to be in the same place at the same time, but can see what one person has worked on for research without duplicating their efforts. You can ask for suggestions or ideas. Just be careful that you have are monitoring the remarks so that it doesn't go negative on you. And if you're the one that created the Padlet, then you can just delete the posts that you don't like. A QR code gallery. Students can create a Padlet with information, images, links on a certain topic. When they're done, they can print the QR code to it. They use the share or export button on the right and then a related image and or title. They can place those QR codes around the room so students can see each other's work. Next up is Class Document Hub. They can upload important class files to a Padlet so that students can go there to download them at any point in time, especially if you're going to use it for review purposes. They're able to review that later in time. Whiteboard answers. If you have those individual whiteboards, the kids can write their answers on the individual whiteboards, and then with the webcam, they can take a picture of it and they can post that. And the way that you do that is when you are on a post, if you'll notice this is the webcam. Take a photo from the webcam, and that's all it really is. It's really simple. You can also upload a file or add a URL with this as well. Next up, we have field trip documentation. So if you're taking a field trip, this is different from the planning part of it. But if you're taking a field trip, you can add, this can be your collage of the photos that the kids take or you take, so everybody can see what everybody's doing, especially if you have split up in your groups. Next up, we have poster presentation, and this could just replace, your traditional poster boards. And the great thing about it is you can then share their work so that none of their posters sit on your desk and don't go anywhere else. You can do sub-lesson plans. You can create links, add photos, post videos, to leave for your substitute teacher to provide students. You could also maybe screencast a video of what you're doing to give directions so that it's still you giving the directions even though you're not there. You can collect videos to share in class. So if you have a bunch of videos that you want the kids to be able to look at, this is a good hub for that. We could do interactive storytelling. You could Create a story and ask students where it should go next. Students can type their ideas into the Padlet, take the students' ideas and continue the story. You could also have them do where one kid does a paragraph and then the next kid has to continue the story by writing the next paragraph, so that if you have 20 kids in class, all 20 kids have contributed to the path of that story. Next up, we have image tagging. Have students upload a picture as the background. They can then post notes on that message to highlight and explain certain parts of the image. Similar to that, we could do maps. If you'll notice, the background of this is a map. You could do, for an example, an immigration project or geography or environmental project and have them post right on based on what they have as their background. Next, introductions. You could use it as an icebreaker if you're at a meeting or on the first day of school, or if you have, a new semester class, you could do it then. And lastly, you can gather responses globally. Create a Padlet with a question and post it on Twitter, a blog, or other social media. And that way you can have worldwide responses. I hope this has been helpful.